Hey guys, it's TheRealPunchee, and today I'll be showing you how I edit my videos and how you can edit your videos. Many people have asked me how I do these types of videos, and I figured it was about time for me to make a guide. Well, consider this a Christmas or holiday special that I'm gonna make. I really wanted to make something, come out with a project, but it's taking a bit longer and it's in the process of being animated. And first of all, I recommend anybody who plays Rogue Lineage to consider the options of creating content, may it be art or videos, because that will convince more people to play and allow the game's community to grow. If more people are playing the game, the devs are going to be more inclined to make updates and little things for us that we can enjoy. Alright, let's get into the editing process. So right now, as you can see, I'm using Vegas Pro. I really like Sony Vegas Pro because it's simple and it's pretty easy to learn compared to others. Let's take a look at this. Honestly, any editing software can be used, but I suggest Sony Vegas because it's simple to learn. I'll be editing a couple of clips I have just for an example. As of now, I don't have many Rogue clips, but we'll see what we have. First things we will talk about the basics of any project, which are organization and clip settings. Whenever you do any project in an editing software or Photoshop or a school project, make sure your channels are organized. So here, we'll make a video track, an audio track, and another video track here. So, if I want to go, let's go to my videos. If I'm adding in, let's say this. If I'm adding in a clip like this, this is my visual track and this is my audio track, okay? I want to keep this organized. So, if I want to add a meme or something, I'm not going to put it in this track. This is only for my clip. And we're going to dedicate, let's say, one of these tracks for only text, okay? Right. So we have our text channel. This is only for text. Don't want to mess with this. Don't put pictures or anything in here. Only put text. And let's just say I want to have a green screen at some point in this video. Green screen is going to go up here. So this is for green screen. This track's going to be only for text. You don't want to mess with that. This is your game clip. What's just straight out of the game. This is your audio file from the game. We can always remove that. And these could be dedicated to maybe a music channel or maybe sound effects. Okay. Just make sure if you want to put sound effects in, they have to be in the same channel. This is very important if you're going to use a program like Photoshop or if you're doing a school project, because the more complicated things get and the better you get, it's going to be a lot harder to organize, and it's going to be a lot more annoying if you get all these habits. I remember coding with somebody and they never organized their stuff, and it became a hassle later on. Right. There are many TikToks I actually saw where lots of people like to show off their timeline, and it's super unorganized. I'll show it actually, and it shows off like random things, random audio files, and random things just clumped together. I mean, the final result may be pretty cool looking, but it's not always the best to show people these types of things if they're going to be unorganized, because it, teaches bad habits. Alright, so we're going to be using, let's say, this clip setting. So, alright, we've gone over our organization part, and we're going to talk about a clip setting, okay? So if you right click, every single time, here I'll trim this, every single time you want to add a clip, you have to do these things to make it look better, okay? So I'll show you what this looks like real quickly with something called maintain aspect ratio. If I right click and I go to switches, I always turn maintain aspect ratio off where the check is not visible, okay? But if I render it, I'll show you what it looks like. Let's render this right now. Okay, so as you can see right here, there are some black bars. We don't want that, okay? I'm not going to wait for this entire thing to render because it's going to take a little bit, but as you can see, there's black bars. There's many types of videos that I see where people have these black bars and they don't think of removing them. It's very easy to remove, and all it takes is like one button press, okay? So I'm going to switches, I click maintain aspect ratio, and then let's take a look at it and see what it looks like when it's rendered, okay? If I go to rendering, and I render this as my basic. This is a basic thing for a YouTube. Pretty sure it's default in many other editing softwares, but for me, I had to pick this one. So if I go to testing video, here we go. We have our black bars are removed. This is very small, it's very easy to do, and it makes it look like you're putting so much more effort into your video just because you switch something off. Okay. Another thing you want to do whenever you add a clip into your thing, you're going to want to go to switches, turn off your maintain aspect ratio, and go to here. There's these things called Resample, which I don't know why they exist. Personally, I've never figured why they are positive, but I always click disable Resample. There are many issues. This happens, like there's frame rate issues if you keep it on regular Resample, and it messes and alters the types of effects that will happen. One example of this that will show you how impactful this is on my largest video. It was what, Uber Shinobi Showcase, whatever, right? I made these eye catchers for One Piece with my character doing like a move or something, and I clipped out the background, I removed the background. But because let's just say I did every single frame, I cut out the background, and I forgot to turn this off, forgot to disable Resample, there was like a outline behind it, and it looked really bad. Okay. And remember, even if you do an effect and then you disable Resample after, you're gonna have to delete that clip or make a copy of it, and you have to disable Resample before adding any effects. Okay. Okay, now that you're maintaining aspect ratios off and Resample is off, ready to do some things. So I'm gonna make sure that my clips are gonna be uniform. I have fade in for this. Let's turn this down. I think this is just like, I don't know, some random footage of me playing Sigil in a private server. Right, so another thing I like to notice when I watch other people's videos and how I like to contain mine is that if you're gonna have a fade for one of these clips, make sure every single fade, like, okay, let's just say, every single video is gonna have a fade, okay? If one of your clips has a fade, then this one should have a fade, okay? Fade in, fade out. It's like, you don't understand what I'm saying. Instead of it just cutting like this, let's see. Instead of it just cutting like this to the next video, it fades, okay? If you want to have all jump cuts, have all jump cuts. But don't have a mix of them unless it's for comedic or dramatic effect, because it usually looks pretty bad, okay? So now I have all these clips set up, let's say, and I want to add my text. Again, we're adding it in this channel here, so it's not going to be affecting other things. So I'm putting my text here. Let's just say Sigil gameplay, okay? Whenever you put text, make sure it's, it fits in with doesn't fit in with the background. You want it to stand out, okay? So because this is white and this is pretty light, I'm going to go into my effects here and make an outline. I'm going to make this black just so it's a bit easier to see. As you can see, it's a bit more vivid. It pops out of you. If I really wanted to, I could make a shadow like this, and then there you go. It's a lot more visible. Very easy to do, and you could add any text you like. So, like, if we want to go with like Bell MT, okay, this is a pretty good text font. Make sure this fades in the same time as your video, just so it looks very nice. Okay, let's try it from the beginning. Fades in, Sigil gameplay. Okay, there we go. That's all good. That's all working fine. And then we have a fade out. If I want to add text later on, let's say I'm switching this text. I want to say game 1, maybe for one of my tournaments. Okay. Oops. I make sure this has the same exact text font. You don't want to have, let's just say I have, Times New Roman here. It's going to look a lot different than this. So you're going to make sure that all of your things are going to be the same font, okay? Everything being consistent is very important. Like, we have only fades here. We have the same font here. Very useful. Okay? Personally, I notice when I see a lot of gank videos is that they turn up their contrast quite a bit. Let's show you what this looks like, okay? So if I go to something called, I actually have a couple plugins here, BCC and S. These are plugins that do not come with Sony Vegas, but you can do all this stuff without using plugins. So I'm putting in color corrector, right? So things I noticed in ganking videos are they either have too much saturation, which is this. If I go to color corrector and turn up the saturation, it's a bit bright, you know? It's a bit bright, turn on the gamma. They make it look weird, okay? Like, I'll see videos, like, very dark for no reason, and I don't understand why people do that. If I go to brightness and contrast, we'll show it off a little bit better. Contrast, like, they'll make it pretty dark and pretty, like, for some reason, many of these videos are very dark and not visually appealing to me. I recommend staying away from these brightness and contrast things. Like, you don't need these, okay? Obviously, if something's gray like this, it's a bit gray. You might want to tune up a bit, make it look a bit brighter. But I like to avoid these because it's usually unappealing to me. And a lot of videos, they have black bars. Not the black bars from the beginning, just like things you manually add in, okay? So if I want to do these black bars, say I go to screen for this would be my green screen type of thing channel, and then I would add in a solid color. Okay, my solid color here is white, and that's what it's going to be. And I'm going to go into my event pan and crop settings and pull it down so it works out good. Right. So here we go. Right now, we have our black bars, okay? Personally, I see a lot of channels where they have their black bars, and it's like this. Like this. Covers up half their screen, it covers up their toolbar, whatever they're doing, right? Like their gank video. I recommend staying away from these black bars if you're going to, let's just say, hide your taskbar. If you want to hide your taskbar, or sorry, not taskbar, your toolbar, like this, you want to do this, okay? So what I usually like to do instead of messing around with black bars, I usually just zoom in, okay? I zoom in like this, and like okay, this is so much better, right? They can see you, they can see your name, they cannot see your toolbar, and they can't see the in danger thing, right? But this is so much better. Instead of adding, like, we have our, let's say we add black bars, right? I don't know if I could do it on here, but if I add black bars, imagine just black bars, 25% of this, 25% of this. It does not look good to me, and I recommend staying as far as you can away from these. You get this tool right here. It's called an anchor creation tool, and you can pretty much draw like you would in, let's say, Photoshop, and then you could just connect these, and then it cuts out your thing. This is not what I would go for. It's very jagged, but as you can see, this can cut out many things. Very useful for making green screens. It does. The only thing I have, like, a word of caution for you is if you're gonna make a green screen, this takes many hours. Okay, like, it takes such a long time. Here's an example. Here, I'll save this. Let's just say testing video. We'll revisit this in a little bit, but I'll show you a little bit of my project I have been working on, and I'll show you what the capabilities of the screening effect are. Masking, sorry. Right, so I'm doing something here, and as you can see, all of my things are lined up perfectly. Like, every single thing I want to be in here, these are my clips. They're all lined up in the same spot. If there's a background clip, I'm going to have it in the background, obviously, and all my audio's at the bottom, okay? Let's go to this specific spot. You're right. Okay, so as you can see, I have a Yeti here this is separate from the scene. Right now it looks very uniform, and as you can see, I have these black bars. I know I was talking about how I like to avoid them, but this is for a cinematic, and I think that it was appropriate if my entire video, had these black bars. So let's put this on solo. If I click on this, it'll only display this Yeti, okay? This is one of my layers. If I go into this, this screen right here, you can see that every single frame here is cut out perfectly. This takes a very long time, but if I didn't cut it out, that means this background would be black and I could not put in my background over here, okay? It's very fun to mess around with screening and making your own green screen effects and masking, making a transition or like a little thing that pops up. Like for my Oni with the sword videos, I had the spinning head. That's something I had to cut out and mask every single frame. This takes a long investment of time, and I don't recommend doing it if you don't have that much time, don't do it, but I'd say it really makes your videos look nice. Again, if you guys have any more questions about like the basics, and if you want me to go more depth into things, I surely can, but these are just the basics I use. I only do transitions. I don't use crazy effects. I just use, you know, pan and crops and masking to do what I want to do.